haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now. We have new stories every day. Now, let's go. Tango of Deception. We had what most people would call a perfect family, a son who adored both of us, a loyal dog named Max, and yes, the damn canary my cheating wife loved more than anything else. Our life looked picture perfect. We had a cozy house, decent jobs, shared responsibilities, and hosted plenty of get-togethers for friends and family. From the outside, everything was idyllic. But life has a funny way of unraveling when you least expect it. The first red flag popped up when Emma, my wife, started complaining about how something was missing. We'd been married for 7 years by then, and while things weren't as exciting as they used to be, I thought we were doing fine. I mean, sure, life wasn't always fireworks and magic, but we had built a solid foundation. Or so I thought. I need more excitement, she kept saying. At first, I brushed it off as one of those phases everyone goes through. She'd get over it, I figured. But soon, she got obsessed with this idea of finding herself, and that's how the whole tango thing started. Tango, out of all things, she decided tango would fill that void in her life. I didn't object. I mean, dancing sounded harmless enough. She started going to lessons twice a week. Nothing unusual, right? People take up hobbies all the time. But then came Stan. Stan was her tango partner. Some tall, lanky guy who was always smiling way too much. From the few times I met him, I could tell he thought way too highly of himself. Always walking around like he was God's gift to women. And Emma? Oh, she was smitten by him. He's such an amazing dancer, she would say. And soon, tango classes turned into group gatherings after practice. That's when I started getting suspicious. At first, it was 2 nights a week, then 3. Then suddenly it seemed like every chance she got, she was out with her tango group. You know that feeling when something's wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it? Yeah, that was me, for weeks. She stopped inviting me to those gatherings. Not that I was really interested in joining, but the fact she didn't even ask. That stung. Still, I trusted her. I was working late most nights, trying to juggle 2 jobs, and when I came home, she'd be glowing from her amazing tango experiences. And the worst part? All that energy she had on the dance floor didn't transfer to our bedroom. Our sex life had dwindled down to almost nothing. Something was definitely off, but every time I asked her, she brushed it off. I'm just tired, Mark, she'd say. Work's been exhausting. And tango, it's my outlet. You wouldn't understand. She was right about one thing. I didn't understand. So one night, I decided to figure it out for myself. It was a Thursday. I knew her class started at 7 p.m., so I left work early, parked a few blocks from the dance studio, and waited. I wasn't sure what I was expecting to see, but I felt like I needed to be there, to see for myself what was going on. And that's when I saw them, Emma and Stan, walking out of the studio together, laughing like teenagers. My blood boiled. Then they did something that made me see red. They held hands. Right there, in public, in front of God knows how many people. She was holding hands with this guy like it was nothing. I clenched the steering wheel so hard I thought I might break it. I wanted to get out of the car and confront them, but something held me back. Instead, I followed them. They got into Stan's car, and I trailed behind as they drove off. At first, I thought maybe they were heading to one of those group gatherings she mentioned. But nope. They pulled into the parking lot of a small cafe. One of those places where you can get a nice meal, some coffee, and maybe a little something extra if you book one of their rooms upstairs. I parked a block away and watched as they went inside. It was official. Emma was having an affair. Just as I sat there in the car, trying to process everything, my phone buzzed. Asterisk staying late at Tango tonight. We've got a competition coming up. Won't be home until late asterisk. A competition. My wife was sitting in a cozy cafe with her tango partner, and here she was texting me about a competition. I saw red. I drove home in a rage, trying to figure out what to do next. When I walked through the front door, I went straight to our bedroom. I didn't think. I just acted. I grabbed her clothes, her shoes, everything that was hers, and threw it out of the window, watching it flutter down to the front yard. It felt cathartic. A couple of hours later, she finally walked through the door. I could hear her gasp from the driveway. Mark, what the hell is this? She yelled as she stormed into the house. I was sitting on the couch, beer in hand, watching the game, pretending like I hadn't just tossed her entire wardrobe out of our bedroom window. Oh, that? Just figured you might want to pack your things. I said, not even bothering to look at her. Mark, what's gotten into you? She screamed, her voice full of that fake innocence she always used when she was cornered. You tell me, Emma, how was your little tango competition with Stan? I finally looked up at her. Her face turned pale. What? What are you talking about? She tried to laugh it off, but I could see the panic in her eyes. I followed you, Emma. I watched you walk into that cafe with Stan. You can stop lying now. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. She couldn't even come up with a decent excuse. We were just grabbing coffee, I interrupted. Save it. You're sleeping with him, aren't you? She stood there for what felt like forever, and then finally, she spoke. Yes. Okay. It happened. But it wasn't what you think. I stood up, throwing my beer bottle into the trash with more force than necessary. Not what I think. You're screwing around with some guy behind my back, and you're trying to tell me it's not what I think. Jesus, Emma, just stop. I didn't wait for her to respond. I walked past her, out the door, and headed to a bar. I couldn't deal with her right then. I couldn't deal with any of it. A week later, I filed for divorce. She tried to talk me out of it, of course. She even cried, saying it was a mistake, that she loved me, that she didn't want to lose our family. But the damage was done. I couldn't forgive her. I couldn't look at her without seeing that smug asshole Stan, so I moved out. She stayed in the house, and yeah, she got the damn canary. Max, our dog, stayed with me. At least I had someone loyal in my life. We went through the motions of divorce like robots. There wasn't much left to fight over. I didn't want the house, or the furniture. I didn't want anything that reminded me of her. The only thing I wanted was my son and Max, and I got both. Online comment section. Mark decided to share his story online, looking for some kind of closure or at least sympathy from the internet. User 1. Bro, the moment she said, Tango, you should have known. That dance is literally made for cheaters. Sorry to hear, man. User 2. I had the same thing happen with my ex, except it was with salsa. These dance classes are dangerous. User 3. You threw her stuff out the window. Bravo. Legend. Mark, replying. Not my finest moment, but it felt good. User 4. Dude, Stan sounds like a tool. You're better off without both of them. User 5. The canary, though? You let her keep it. Should have freed the damn thing. Mark, replying. Trust me, that bird chirped all day long. She can have it. User 6. How's life now, man? Any updates? Mark. Just focusing on my son and Max. Oh, and avoiding dance classes forever. User 7. You should have gone to that tango competition. Show up in the middle of the cafe with some popcorn. Life after the divorce wasn't easy, but it wasn't the nightmare I thought it would be. There's something freeing about not having to wonder if your wife is out with another man. It was just me, my son, and Max. We started fresh in a new house, and little by little, things began to feel normal again. Emma still tried to reach out every now and then. She'd call, pretending like we could still be friends or something. But I wasn't interested. I couldn't be friends with someone who had shattered my trust like that. I let her talk to our son, of course, but that was the extent of it. As for Stan, I heard through the grapevine that he moved on to another dance partner. Shocking, right? The guy couldn't even stick with Emma after wrecking our marriage. Figures. In the end, I realized something. I might have lost my wife, but I didn't lose my self-respect. And if I'm being honest, I think I gained a lot more than I lost. No more lies, no more tango drama, and no more damn canary. I think I'll be just fine.